Hi, I'd like to give you a quick tour of Houdini. Houdini is a new way to test your web apps. What makes Houdini different is that you don't write any tests. Houdini automatically generates tests for your site just by watching you use your website. It's all browser-based, so you don't have to deal with any complicated setups or downloads. Let me show you Houdini in action for a Twitter clone that I'm building. So here I've already logged into tryhoudini.com with my GitHub, and I've selected the repo that I need. And I get a short bunch of JavaScript that I can copy and paste into the head tag of my web app. And that's it for setup. So here's the homepage of my Twitter app. I just built the login functionality, so I'm just going to log in to try it to see if it works. So I logged in, and I see that Houdini has generated a new test. And that's how it works. You just use your site, and tests get generated. So I can click into that test to see more details in my dashboard. And there we go. This is the new test. We see that Houdini has recorded the steps that I took, and it has taken snapshots of the DOM. It says enter username, enter password, click to submit. I can click on the snapshots to see them more clearly. And I see that these two snapshots are identical. One is the previous snapshot, and the other one is the latest snapshot. These two are compared, and because they're identical in this case, we say that the test passed. And we see the symbol right there saying that the test is passed. Okay, so one thing to note is that Houdini actually compares the structure of the DOM as well as the content. So Houdini can actually handle dynamic content and not just static content. So let's see that in action. I go back to this page. And a great example of dynamic content would be a tweet. So let's add a tweet and see how Houdini tests that. Hello world, anything is possible. Okay, and we see, because this is a new sequence of actions, a new test has been generated and run. So now we can click onto that and see details again to see if that test passed. So we see here, post content, the test passed. What's curious here though is the previous snapshot has only one tweet from me, while the latest snapshot has two tweets. So if we were just comparing raw HTML content, this test should fail. But because Houdini is smart enough to compare not just the content, but the structure of the DOM as well, this test passes because they both have the same structure. And so we see that for most kinds of dynamic content, Houdini is actually smart enough to handle them. And so we don't get tests failing at random. Okay, so now the other thing I'm going to show you is how about when we make a new feature that breaks one of these features we've already built where the test passed. This is pretty common. This is regression testing. So I'm going to show you this in the app by building a sign-up functionality that actually breaks the login functionality. So the way that's broken is that I've designed a different data structure for the user object, and so now the login functionality doesn't work anymore. So let's just sign up to see if the sign-up functionality works. So signed up, and we see that the sign-up functionality works. But what's typical is that we often will test only the feature that we just built, but we don't necessarily always test every single feature that we built in the past. So here we see an alert saying that the sign-up test works, but we have broken the login functionality. So we can click onto that to see details. And so just clicking, we see indeed the login functionality has failed. And just by looking visually, immediately we can see sort of a representation of why it failed. We can see that previously when we clicked on the login button, we saw a feed. But in this case, we didn't actually go past the landing page. So it's pretty obvious that the test failed. And so this is it. This is basically Houdini. Houdini is a way to watch your website as you use it and generate tests. It compares snapshots of the DOM, and actually in some cases it's smart enough to detect common user sequences. So in this case it's actually smart enough to detect that this is a login function, and in those cases it can generate actual WebDriver code to run with real browsers. So that's Houdini. Right now we're in private beta, and so we'd love for you to come to tryhoudini.com, enter your email into the sign up form, and we'll get back to you soon with, to give you early access. Thank you so much for watching.